Liftoff will start in T-minus 10 seconds. 10, 9, 8, 7, 6, 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. We have ignition.
It's time! 17 seconds from Game 7 or from championship number 6. Jordan open. Chicago with the lead. Harden got a piece of it. It comes off. The Chicago Bulls have won their 6th NBA championship.
Tying run at second, 2 out. Palmero over the head of Jenks. Uribe charges, throws, out! And the White Sox have won the World Series.
To the far side around the 8-yard line to Hester. Under it and to the middle with the 15 to the 20, breaks free to the 25 to the 30 to the outside. 40, midfield, 40, 30 to the coast, 20, 15, Hester 5. Oh! Touchdown!
Toward Bryant. He will glove it toward Rizzo. It's in time. And the Chicago Cubs win the World Series.
What up, what up, what up? Welcome to Shawn and Maya in the morning on this Hump Day edition. I'm your boy, the SuperBack, Shawn Sierra. Thanks for tuning in. If you're watching us on Facebook Live, well, then I guess you found us on Facebook. And if you're not following us on Facebook, what? Go to Facebook, type in Sports Zone Chicago, click the like button, and now you're following Sports Zone Chicago. Simple. But wait, there's more. Go to Shawn and Maya in the morning. Like that page as well. So not only will you be following Sports Zone Chicago, but you'll be following Shawn and Maya in the morning as well. If you're watching us on our YouTube channel, excellent. And if you're not subscribed to our YouTube channel, for real, come on, man. Go to YouTube, type in Sports Zone Chicago, click the subscribe button, but also click the notification button. That's the bell right next to it, and that'll let you know anytime a show from Sports Zone Chicago is going live. You get it? Got it? Good. Now, we need help. We're trying to up our subscriptions, so do me a favor. Make sure you like, if you haven't subscribed to my YouTube channel, please do that. All right? But also spread the word. Spread the word. Spread the word. Do the bird, and spread the word. I don't know where the hell that came from. Anyway, if you watch this on our mobile app, yay. If you didn't, come on, don't tell me you didn't know we had a mobile app. What is wrong with you? Come on, guys, we have our own mobile app. All right? You can take us with you on the go. So wherever you get your apps from, it doesn't matter whether it's iTunes or Google Play or Amazon or Walmart or Kmart or 7-Eleven or Zayre or Zemsky, Macy, Montgomery Ward, Woolworth, Weebolts, wherever you get your apps from. You go there, you type in Sports Zone Chicago, you download it. You take us with you on the go. So not only do you get Shawn and Maya in the morning 3 days a week, not only do you get our other live shows throughout the week, and not only are they archived there like they are on Facebook, but I'll tell you what, we give you a slew, and I mean a slew of articles, thanks to my man Clarence Council III. Big up to Clarence for keeping you abreast of all articles, Chicago sports related. Now, if you're watching this on Roku channel, I like that kind of party, baby. Listen, if you don't know, you better ask somebody. Sports Zone Chicago, we have our own Roku channel, baby. What? Yes. So do me a favor, download Sports Zone Chicago's channel right to your television. Do us that favor. All right, put it right next to HBO, or Netflix, Hulu, HBO Max, Prime, Apple Plus, Showtime. Oh yeah, we got another episode. Is that the episode next week of Power Book 2, the season finale? Is that next week? I think so. And The Shy, all great stuff. But do us that favor. Download it, put it there, watch us on the big screen. Hell, we should be on the big screen, right, Mickey? Vicky, now. You can also tweet the show. Tweet us at Sports Zone Shy. That's CHI at Sports Zone Shy. Now, if you want to follow me, want to know what I did? Let me tell you what I did, folks. I made it nice and easy for you, folks. Nice and easy. One handle for Facebook, Twitter, Instagram, Snapchat, and TikTok. All one handle at the Shawn Sierra. Want to follow my other co-host Maya Kai? You can follow her on Facebook and Twitter at the Sports Chica. If you want to follow her on Instagram, because IGers, you can do it just for the gram. Just call her. Follow her at Maya_Kai. It's MAYA_AKAI. Listen, we got a great show, and we're going to get started really soon at 9:15. Man, we have a phenomenal show, but I need you to get it interactive. But listen, at 9:15, we got Bob Nightingale. All right, Bob Nightingale from USA Today. He's going to join us We have some baseball. I know baseball is not very good in Chicago, but it's still going on. We got some questions. Who are the White Sox going to trade? When are they going to trade them? What's going on with the Cubs? We're going to talk to Bob Nightingale at 9:15. All right. At 10 o'clock, we have my man Lauren Cox from the Locked On Bears podcast. Oh, goodness. My mistake. I thought I sent it to you, Bob. My mistake. Yeah. There we go. At 10 o'clock, Lauren Cox from the Locked On Bears podcast is going to join us. Talking Bears. Woo, Charlie. And then at 10:30, wrap up the show with Fred Pfeiffer for the Big Red Bus. We're going to talk Bulls basketball. So we got a full show. It's going to get started in about 5 minutes. But you know what? You know how we do the first segment of every show? Because we got to bump it up a little bit. Bump it up a little bit. First segment of every show is called Top of the Morning. Where'd it go? Here it is.
It won't come just when you want it. Top of the morning to you. Top of the morning to you. Top of the morning to you.
You know what? Before we do Top of the Morning, and I know we're getting started early, but let me say what's up to my peoples. All right, and that might take up some of the Top of the Morning. We can do that after Bob gets off. No problem, because we'll have from 9:30 to 10 to do the whole Top of the Morning. But let's see what's up. Yeah, my man Jay Grizz, the first one this morning. Good morning, Papa. Thank you for tuning in. I appreciate it, my man Armando Emeterio Lara Jr. He's in the house. Good morning, baby. That's my dog. Balls, what up? Be Smooth is in the house. That's what I'm talking about. Man, look at all these jokers. What? Why'd you put this, dude? My man Junior always got my back. I don't brag much, but I can honestly say Shawn was a game changer. Running back, he did everything he could. He could run you over. He could hike you. He could catch, probably and block. Best damn running back ever blocked for. Thanks, bro. I appreciate it. I appreciate it. And that's funny, Jay Grizz. Get off my lawn, Shawn. I am officially at that age. Get off my lawn, damn it. Oh, this is a good cup of tea right there. Get off my lawn, damn it. Hey, I grew up in a football locker room, man. All we did was bust chops. All we did was bust chops in the locker room. And speaking of, Junior was the biggest ball buster there was. James Ford in the house. What's up, Papa? Thank you for tuning in. I appreciate it. Michelle Walls in the Mickey Ficky house. What's up on a rainy hump day? You forgot. I did, Michelle. My apologies, my man. Sometimes I don't check my social media on the weekends. I apologize, Papa. Happy belated birthday. Patty Laws, good morning, man. Thank you for tuning in. I appreciate it. Oh, snap. Mr. Shorty is in the house. Yes, Mr. Shorty, we are live today. We are live and in charge, baby. That's what I'm talking about. Oh, man. Plank is in the house. Good morning, Papa. Thank you for tuning in. Let's see who else. Who else is in the house? Man, I'll tell you what. I don't know a lot about a lot, but I do know this. More of the usual suspects will chime in as the show goes on. That, my peoples, I can tell you. So you know what we're going to do? I probably shouldn't have played the Top of the Morning open because we're going to wait for Bob. Bob should be hopping on in a second. But we're going to talk a little with Bob Nightingale from USA Today. Excuse me. Because he's my guy, good friend of the program. He's been rocking with us for years. And I appreciate every time he has a moment to come on and talk baseball with us. Oh, goodness. Goodness gracious, great balls of fire. Whew. Man, you know, who else? Oh, snap. DC. Derek Carter's in the house. Good morning, Papa. Thank you for tuning in. I appreciate it. I appreciate it very much. You know what? One of the top of the morning topics that I'm going to talk about after Bob gets on, after we're finished with Bob's interview. Did you see I'm a little annoyed. Steve and I were talking about this before the show. Want to send a big shout out to my guy Steve-O, getting all my clips and everything together for me, my banners, my flyers. Not the banners, but the flyers. I appreciate it. Big shout out, Steve-O. I appreciate it. Thank you. One of the things we're talking about is the tickets for training camp. The tickets for training camp, they came on at 10 o'clock yesterday. All right, they were free. Now, they're free tickets. You just had to go online and register to get them and whatever. And within 45 minutes, all 9, 10 practices were gone, and we're instantly on StubHub for over $100. Well, at least the first day. Everyone's going to want to see the first day. Crazy, crazy, crazy. But listen, we got to get this party started right. All right. So my first guest is a good friend of the program, as I mentioned. Man, we have a lot of questions for him because baseball in Chicago is dead. D-E-D. Dead. We got to ask him what's going on with my good guys on the south side. The surprising collapse of the Cubs on the north side. My goodness, he works for USA Today, and you can find him on Twitter or X at B Nightingale. Guys, it's welcome back to Shawn and Maya, Bob Nightingale. Bob, good morning, Bob. How you doing out there?
Yeah, good morning, Shawn. Good.
Yeah, well, better than me because baseball, I can't even tease like Cub fans and Sox fans. We don't even tease each other anymore because we both suck. So that's boring. We're waiting. How many more days till Bears training camp? That's really how we're drinking together in our misery with both teams being so bad. Let's start with the worst of the worst. Let's get that out of the way. My White Sox. As long as you've been coming on, I am a diehard White Sox fan like a son of a gun. And man, it has been frustrating. All right. Talk to me about, well, we've heard rumors. All right, they're trading this, they're trading that. Garrett Crochet is probably the biggest prize that they have, biggest asset that they have. Do you think they're going to trade him? Do you think they should trade him? And if you do, how many suitors do you think would be in the running for a left-handed fireballer?
Well, I know 15 teams expressed interest as about a week ago. So
Wow.
Maybe it's up to 20 now. So he is their best asset. They're asking for a ton for him. They should. He's not making any money. He's making barely with the minimum salary, $800,000. 2 years left in that contract after this. So they said they tried to extend him. Talks didn't really go anywhere. So if you're not going to extend him, maybe you are wise to trade him. And I'm sure because of his injury history too, they're a little cautious. Like, wait a minute now, is this guy going to stay healthy for next 5 or 6 years? So, but if you do trade him, you better do a whole lot better than you got for the Chris Hill trade, because that thing was a disaster. Moncada did nothing. Kopech's been a disaster. So you got to make sure you better hit on, 2 of the guys that you get back in return.
Yeah, I would say that Boston won that trade.
Yeah, absolutely. Won a World Series out of it. So, yeah, you got to be right in that thing. And he has by far the most value of all the guys they have. I mean, Luis Roberts having a down year. Not going to get much for him. Kopech's been a disaster. Pretty much just unload his contract. You got guys like Tommy Pham and, Paul DeYoung. But Crochet's the guy that, everybody wants, and we'll see. Some GMs aren't absolutely convinced they'll trade him. We'll see.
Yeah, well, I hope they don't, and I understand what you can get for him. All right, because of I think the 2 things. One, his salary is peanuts in baseball terms, and you have 2 more years of control of him, and I think that's something that's extremely, extremely attractive to most people, especially a team like the Dodgers. All right, you got a fireball lefty going up against some stud left-handed hitters in the National League. Kind of what you want. But he's one. I really, when it comes down to it, I hope they don't trade him. There are some people I want to see. Like if I do go to a game, because I don't go to many games anymore, I want to see him. Him and Lewis Robert, going at it. But speaking of him, we do have a couple of young arms in the rotation. Talk about those guys. I was kind of impressed with these rookies they have in the rotation, these young arms, and could be they could amount to something in a season or two.
Yeah, I mean they traded Dylan Cease, who started off great for the Padres, and it's been just so the last month. He's actually been struggling. So that trade, with the young guy they got back, could work out well for him. That's why they can't be wrong in any of these trades. You're just gonna get fringe guys back for a Tommy Pham or DeYoung. So with Crochet, I understand your point, Shawn. But the thing is, if you're going to shut them down the second half, and they're all in plan to do so, you're not going to be able to watch them pitch anyway, except out of the bullpen. So it's not like hey, you come watch them, watch them next year after. And I think that's why teams are a little reluctant to trade for him. Like if we trade for him, can he really help us in September, October?
Yeah, well, Drew Thorpe's one of the young guys that we had, one of the young arms in that rotation, and he's looked good. Not putting him in Cooperstown by any stretch, but I'm saying he's looked good for what we've had. Talk about him and some of the younger Cannon and some of these other guys, and they're giving us hope. I mean, a glimmer of hope, but I mean, we've seen this before for the last how many years?
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, I mean, Thorpe's the guy they got from San Diego. So yeah, you just never know with these young pitchers. They gave away a good young pitcher too when they made the trade with Arizona, and that's been a semi-disaster. So you got to start hitting on these guys. The draft's coming up on Sunday. They got to hit the number one draft pick. Some of those draft picks have been complete disasters. For Madrigal on, it's like when you're drafting that high, you better be right. And they haven't had that impact player, whether it's a batter or.
And guys, we're joined by Bob Nightingale from USA Today, talking baseball here on Shawn and Maya in the morning on Sports Zone Chicago. What have you heard about my guy? And I had to eat a lot of crow for this. My man, Yoan Moncada. He was one of the best minor league prospect coming out at one point. Really had one season where he finished third, I believe, in batting average. Other than that, has been very underwhelming. What about him and his rehab assignment? When do you see him back, and what do you think they're going to do with him once he is?
Well, that's the thing. He's making so much money now, and what are you going to do? I mean, he's been a disaster too. You can have all the time in the world, but you better play, and you better post. And he's not posting. They've had so many injuries, but it's like you look at the Angels with Anthony Rendon and Mike Trout. Hey, may look good on paper, but if you're just sitting there, rehabbing injuries all the time, you're not doing anything for the organization. And I think that's what's happening here with Moncada. Is like it's been done nothing and making a lot of money. So I don't think they can give him away right now.
yeah, you probably have to eat a lot of that contract, and I still don't know if any teams would take him. Last question, I'm on about the good guys. I use air quotes for that. My good guys. Pedro Griffol's having a rough season again, on pace for over 100. They were challenging the worst record in baseball. I don't think they'll get there. I think they have too many winnable games in the future. But what is his status moving forward? Is it do you think this could be his last year here and they just everything, or do you think he has another year or two left from this front office?
I think it could be his last year. There was reports a couple months ago he's going to get fired. That wasn't going to happen. You're not going to pay 3 different managers and bring someone in. I mean, no one right now is going to change it. So if they bring someone in the off season and they'll reevaluate, then they'll give that guy a clean slate. So right now it's a disaster. So why give that to somebody else? Charlie Montoya is on the staff. Of course, he got let go by the Blue Jays. So, but you have to bring somebody else in. I think in the off season, unless he really shows that okay, I'm capable of doing this job. He's well liked by the organization. One of the former Kansas State Royals guys. I think there are like 15 of them in the organization. But I would think it'd be better off to go get somebody else in the offseason and let's start fresh. They got to find a way to sell tickets too.
Yeah, they do. And hey, if they keep having good promos, giveaways like they had last couple of times. Remember, they only had one sellout, and that was a couple of weeks ago with the Mexican Heritage Night where they gave away those jerseys. Only sellout of the year this year.
Yeah, that was the best thing they've done all year with that kind of crowd and environment and stuff like that. But yeah,
hey, the marketing guy better get a big raise for that one.
Yeah, right. Yeah, exactly. Yeah, we're starting having it every night.
Brooks Boyer, you go, boy. Let's go to the north side where the Cubs have been very disappointing this year. They're predicted to contend for the title, and wow, they are nowhere near it. What has gone wrong with them up on the north side?
Yeah, I mean the offense has been abysmal for them. Just guys haven't stepped up. Spent $8 million for Cody Bellinger. He's just been okay. So now they have no choice but to put these guys in the trade block. Trouble is almost like the White Sox. They don't have many guys you can trade. Cody Bellinger, someone could trade for him, but do you really want to pay $55 million to him the next 2 years? It hasn't been worth it. So they don't have a lot of movable pieces either. They could trade a Jameson Taillon, get a little bit for him, but they don't have those guys to trade. So, yeah, that's been very disappointing there. Particularly the fact that Milwaukee, the team that Craig Counsell left, kind of gave up and traded away their Cy Young winner, everything else. And, here they got about a 10-game lead over the Cubs.
And that was the thing is Cub fans figured, all right, we got their manager who was touted as one of the best managers in baseball, and now you're in the basement in the NL Central. Like one of my guys posted in the comments like he's a Cub fan and I'm a Sox fan, and we definitely can't. We don't even tease each other. It's just that bad here in Chicago. What do you think can be done for anything? Can this season be salvaged? Because can you think they could even make a wild card at this particular point, or is it just a lost season for the Northsiders?
I mean, it certainly looks like a lost season. They'd have to turn it around real quick here, not to sell off pieces. So, I mean, the division is a very weak division. As much as people talk about the AL Central, Central has two very good teams in Cleveland, Minnesota. NL Central doesn't have that team. Cincinnati hasn't stepped up. Pittsburgh's probably, a year away. Milwaukee's solid, but not great. They won't have about one starting pitcher. So it's possible they can still hang around and make a run with the wild card. I mean, everybody in the National League is alive except for two, Rockies and Marlins. So we'll see. But, they've had this long a time and nothing's happened. What's going to change in 2 weeks?
You mean the Marlins that just took 2 out of 3 and a walk-off from Jake Bergman, former White Sox? Yeah, those Marlins.
Yeah.
Those guys.
It's been rough. I saw someone tweet the other day, and it's kind of going around in Chicago circles. Is this the worst year in Chicago history for sports?
Yeah.
Throwing the Blackhawks and Bulls and Bears.
It very well could be. But, we got to keep the faith and hope things turn around. As we're going to talk a little Caleb Williams in about an hour or so. So hopefully he can spark a new direction for the football team. Bob, great stuff as always, my man. I appreciate you every time you're able to come on. Do me a favor, let everyone know where they can find you and your work online.
Yeah, just online at usatoday.com or I usually put it on Twitter at B Nightingale.
Great stuff, buddy. I appreciate it. We'll talk soon. Thank you.
All right, take care, Shawn.
All righty. Guys, that's Bob Nightingale from USA Today talking baseball. Man, it is tough for us Cubs and Sox fans. It's tough. It's tough. And I don't even know what to say. Junior, you said it like we don't even mess with each other anymore. We don't even mess with each other anymore. It's just like I said, when do they report to camp? When did the Bears report to camp? Here. We sure don't tease each other. We definitely don't. So listen, what we're gonna do, we're gonna take a quick break. All right. Out of the break, we'll our top of the morning topics. So we're gonna play the intro again, but that's okay. It's fine. So don't go anywhere, folks. Keep it locked right here. Shawn and Maya in the morning on Sports Zone Chicago.
the calling, few will earn the title. United States Marine. The few, the proud, the Marines.
Hey, it's your boy, the SuperBack, Shawn Sierra, and be sure to follow Sports Zone Chicago on all social media platforms on Facebook, Instagram, and our Roku channel. You can find us at Sports Zone Chicago, and on Twitter, we are at Sports Zone Shy. Also, be sure to download our mobile app so you can take Sports Zone Chicago with you on the go.
How do you take care of your mind health?
For my mental health, I meditate in the mornings.
I have my dogs. They're the best.
I just find ways that help me just relax.
Finding things that make me happy, like being close to my family.
I meditate a lot and read books.
I have hobbies outside of the game. I'm able to switch off. I'm able to turn my brain off from the game of basketball.
Your mind health matters.
Your mind health matters.
We are looking for a few heroes, mentors, trailblazers, innovators, a passion to change lives, spark curiosity, open hearts, and awaken minds, help students answer the question, who am I? This could be your calling, but this is no job. It's the journey of a lifetime. Be a hero. Be a teacher.
Mental health and learning disorders don't discriminate. 17 million children and adolescents in the United States live with disorders like anxiety, depression, ADHD, and dyslexia. Less than half get the help they need to thrive. Help the Child Mind Institute change these children's lives. Visit childmind.org.
Now it'll be Michael Bush. That is hammered right field. That's on its way, and you can't forget it. Michael Bush, a first pitch homer, and just like that, the Cubs lead 1-0. Almost half his home runs have come on either the first or second pitch.
Yeah, that's why we nicknamed them Ambush.
But when you're playing it
up with one swing, Anthony, ground ball left side, diving stop by the third baseman Mastroboni. The second for one, on to first, two. A double. Ryan O'Hearn will bat with 2 outs now, and the base is empty.
A drive into left center on the run. Hap diving catch by Ian.
Pitch to Hap. High fly ball, right field. That one well struck. That's on its way. Gone! On to Utah Street. Ian Happ stays hot. 3-run homer, and it is 7-2.
The RBI barrage continues for Ian, and the Cubs, with a little breathing room now, open up a 7-2 lead.
Welcome back to Shawn and Maya in the morning on Sports Zone Chicago. Those clips courtesy of the Marquee Network. That was the Cubs. The Cubs yesterday with a nice little 9-2 victory over the Baltimore Orioles, over the O's, and Elaine Bennis's favorite team. If you're a Seinfeld fan, you know what I'm talking about. Ian Happ he went ham yesterday. So, you know what? Just for spits and giggles, let's redo it again. First segment of every show, and this time it's the second segment. It's top of the morning.
It won't come just when you want it. Top of the morning to you. Top of the morning to you. Top of the morning to you.
There we go. There we go now. First top of the morning topic, man. You just saw it coming out of the break. Cubs with a nice little victory yesterday. Beat the Orioles 9-2. Jameson Taillon, he got the W. He's 6-4. He went 6 innings, 4 hits, 2 earned runs, a walk, 7 punch outs. Michael Bush, It was 4 for 6, hit his 12th homer of the season, driving in his 33rd RBI on the campaign. Ian Happ, you saw that, put that on, was it, you say Colorado Street? Bush Street? I forgot what street they said. Anyway, he hit his 14th homer onto that street. 3 RBIs on the day, 53rd, 54th, and 55th RBIs of the season. I think they give him a plaque. I think there's only been like 100. I forgot how many people who've hit it onto that street, out of the ballpark onto that street, and you get like a plaque or something. They were saying that'd be pretty dope. Mr. Outcast Seiya Suzuki himself was 2 for 5 with a double, his 12th, driving in his 37th and 38th run of the season. Well, the Cubs they take on the Orioles again today. Shota Imanaga, the All-Star. He's on a bump today for the Northsiders. He's 7-2 with a 3.16 ERA, going up against Corbin Burns, who's on the bump for the O's. He's 9-3 with a 2.32 ERA. First pitch today is at 5:35 Central. You can catch that game on the Marquee Network or listen to it on their flagship 6:70 a.m. The White Sox. The White Sox game yesterday with the Twins was postponed due to rain. And they will have a doubleheader, a straight doubleheader today. Game 1 is at 1:10. Bailey Ober is on a bump for the Twinkies. He's 8-4 with a 4.12 ERA. He's going up against Eric Fetty, one of our best pitchers. He's 6-3 with a 3.13 ERA. You can catch that game on NBC Sports Chicago or check it out on our flagship station, 6:70 a.m. I'm sorry, what did you say? That's a mistake. That is a mistake. Steve-O, who put these things together? Oh, I did. Pardon me. Technically, it would be, it's AM 1000, not 6:70 AM. That's the Scrubs. Cubs, sorry. Well, game 2 is about 30 to 45 minutes after game 1 ends. Pablo Lopez is on a bump for the O's. He's 8-7 with a 5.18 ERA. He's going up against Drew Thorpe, who's 3-1 with a 3.71 ERA. And that game can also be caught on NBC Sports Chicago or listened to on their flagship station, ESPN 1000 here in Chicago. So that's funny. That's quite funny. Well, keeping it moving, the next top of the morning topic, the Sky. Excuse me while I kiss the Sky. The Sky hosts the Atlanta Dream today at Wintrust Arena. Tip-off is shortly. It's at 11 o'clock this morning. I don't know why they do that. I don't know. What's so pressing at Wintrust Arena that that your game has to be at 11 o'clock in the morning? What the? Levette, don't come in here acting crazy. Don't do that. Well, my man, who's that, Terrence? Are you T-Nick? What's up? What's up, Papa? Thank you for tuning in. I appreciate it. Look at Jay Grizz talking all that ish. Oh, man. You guys are out of control. But, yeah, looking forward to the Sky. They got some work to do. All right, the Sky has some work to do. They're as exciting as they are, as much as we're talking about them. You know, they are at the bottom of the playoff picture in the WA. All right, they're at the bottom of the picture. They're 8-12. I mean, we got to get to 500. All right, girls. I mean, we got to. Don't get me wrong. I love the excitement. I love the enthusiasm. I love the support. I don't know if you saw. It was on social media, of course. The Tate brothers, Lorenz Tate, I forgot his brother's name. He's with them played in Power. Oh, they were at the Sky game the other day. I thought that was pretty cool. They actually got to talk to the girls after the game in the line. It was pretty cool. It was really, really cool. But the girls got to do better. All right, they got to get to 500. Get to 500 and then go from there. Because right now they're 8-12, and they're going up against the Atlanta Dream, who is 7-13. So they're equally yoked, these teams. And here's a chance for you to get one step closer to 500. All right, one step closer to 500. Solidify. Maybe you go up. Let me see. Where are they at in the playoff standings? because see 8-12. Yeah, so they're gonna have to. One of the things I would like, I like them to get up a little higher at seed. Well, it does a lot of different things, and most importantly, it builds confidence. Okay, because right now you're at the bottom of the playoff seed. You're the 7th or 8th. If you can get to 6th, okay, and by some strange thing, if you get to 5th, but you move up one slot and secure yourself a better footing, a better seeding in the playoffs, it does a lot for your confidence. It does a lot for your confidence, and I think that's what these girls need, because you have the rookies, Camila Cardoso, who's coming off an injury, and Angel Reese, who are carrying this team. Two girls who are carrying the team, and I'm saying they're rookies, and because I think Kennedy Carter's doing a phenomenal job as well. I think she's found a home, and she's one of the other main contributors for this team beside Angel Reese. But those two rookies, remember, we've talked about it before. They haven't had a rest. They haven't had an off season. Okay, they're going right from the NCAA tournament, deep runs in the tournament, to the 2 weeks after, to the draft, 2 weeks after, to training camp. So there's literally no break for these girls. None. So, and then she's an all-star, so she's in the all-star game. She's going to London to see the women's team play. She needs a break. All right. That's why I'm really anxious to see next year, when she gets a complete offseason, her and Camila Cardoso, what damage they can do together. And the one thing I'll tell you, this is why Chicago's in love with Angel Reese. She doesn't care. She doesn't care about the only 4 weeks from deep NCAA run to the draft to training camp. You know why? Because she's a dog. She's a dog. All right. We already showed you she got named an all-star. That was last week. Okay. But then she goes and does something crazy. She goes and she set the WNBA record of 13 consecutive double-doubles. She can make it 14 with a double-double tonight against the Atlanta Dream. That record was held by Candace Parker over 2 seasons. This is in 1 season. And if you watch her play, if you just watch the highlights, she's a dog. There are girls who are bigger than her, stronger than her, and she is out rebounding them. She's going up strong. She's getting the and ones. And I tell you what, that type of hard work, blue collar effort is what's going to endear her greatly to the Chicago fan base. You know how we like people who work. You know how we respect people who work, especially our athletes. She's doing it as a rookie with no offseason. And she's, you know what? She's a little brash. She's confident. She's unapologetically herself. And I love it. And because she set the WNBA record of 13 consecutive double-doubles, guess what? Yesterday, she was named the Eastern Conference Player of the Week. That is dope. She averaged 18.6 points per game, 14 rebounds, and 1.2 assists per game. Telling you, this girl is beast. She is a beast, and I love it. I want to see her. I want to see her do nothing but succeed to the highest level. Succeed to the highest level. She embodies this new age athlete. Okay, with the new NIL athlete. Okay, she's part owner of a football club, a soccer team. Okay, she's had plenty of NIL money coming into the WNBA. She made more last year at Louisiana State than she's making this year in her contract with the Sky. She made more NIL money last year. So again, her grittiness, her hard-nosed demeanor, her work ethic. Let me tell you, Chris, Angel Reese gives me Dennis Rodman vibe, except Reese ain't no drag queen. No, she's not. No, she's not. But you're right. That's I likened her to Dennis Rodman as well, because she goes down and she's down and dirty. She does the dirty work. She's getting rebounds, putting them up and ones. I mean, her energy is contagious. Cornelia Squalls, yes. Kennedy Carter is a beast. She is definitely a beast. As I said, I think she found a home here in Chicago. The one thing, let me tell you why this works. Let me tell you why this works. Coaching. All right, you hear me say this all the time. Coaching matters. Okay? Let's look at the coaches in this scenario. Angel Reese played for Kim Mulkey. Okay? For those of you who don't know, Kim Mulkey was a badass point guard at Louisiana Tech. I remember her watching her in the NCAA tournament years ago, back in 81, 82, when she won the national championship. She was bad. If you see her now, her feisty little self, that was her on the court. Straight, hardcore, just unstoppable, relentless. Okay? And now she's playing for Teaspoon, Teresa Witherspoon, her head coach, who is gritty, who's known for her defense, who's known for that grittiness, who's known she's my age. She's get off my lawn. Get off my lawn, Teaspoon. That's it. That's her. So you go from one dictator, and I mean it in a jovial sports sense, okay, to another one. Well, guess what? For those of you who don't know, guess who Teresa Witherspoon played for Louisiana Tech? Kim Mulkey. So she goes from Kim Mulkey, from the teacher, to one of the proteges in Teresa Witherspoon. And the demand is the same. Ask no quarter, give no quarter. I need your best effort every night. And you know what? She's responded. And this is why coaching matters. When you go from one, you're literally going from one coach to the same coach. Same demanding, unrelenting coach. And if this is all you know, this is all you do. This is how you play. If you're not allowed to play a certain way and show off and do all these other things and act a fool, guess what? You don't. This is why coaching is so important. This is why I love good old school coaches. And yeah, you morph as the times go. And you could talk about her modeling career. You could talk about the outfits, which I love. I love the outfits when she comes to the stadium. But you know damn well she's gonna fight her ass off in the forest of trees and be very successful every single night. There's no question. There's no question of whether or not is she gonna show up? Is she gonna have a nagging injury? No, you know damn well she's gonna be in the post, fighting, jumping, tipping basketballs to get that rebound. Phenomenal passer. You know she's a great passer. Phenomenal receiver of the basketball. Couple of Kennedy Carter passes on a fast break. She looked like a wide receiver. And I'm talking about Angel Reese. Caught him on the run, laid it up, and won. This girl's extremely talented. Extremely. Now when we get Camila Cardoso in shape, I think she got to lose maybe 10 pounds. 8 to 10 pounds. But I need it distributed better. I need her body. I need her stronger. Remember, she's got no offseason either. And she was only rehabbing when she hurt her shoulder. This is why they love these girls. Because Camila Cardoso, she's a double-digit rebounder as well. And this is why Chicago's falling in love with them. This is why. Yeah, he doesn't get talked about as one of the best guys in the 4 or 5. You're right, he didn't, and the great part about it, he just didn't rebound, Jay Grizz. He was a pain in the ass. He got in your head. He got in the head of his opponents that ruined their game, that altered their game. I love it. I love it. I love it. I love it. She showed up in a Reebok Joker. Allen Iverson questions sneakers every night. And you know what? I guarantee you, mark my words, I have not heard anything. They're going to make a shoe for her. Hey, Shaq is a president, and Allen Iverson is, I don't know if he's vice president, but he's up there in Reebok. They're going to make a shoe for this girl, and they better. You want money? More money, more money, more money? I can guarantee you. I can't do that. I have a strong feeling they're already in contract talks now. Hell, you saw she's in contract talks with Reese's Peanut Butter Cups, with the Reese's Candy Bar, Candy Company, for Reese's Pieces. They need to come up with a shoe, because you know what? That shoe will sell. That shoe will sell. You know how many young girls, little girls, grammar school, high school girls are going to want an Angel Reese shoe? Come on, man. Come on, man. Now you're getting Reebok back in the basketball game. Now, it might be not on the men's side, but if you... Now you might start to see Reebok becoming the official sponsor of some schools. But you'll see a lot of girls in high school wearing them. You'll see a lot of girls in grammar school wearing her shoes. Get her shoe made. Get it made. Paul, who's Paul? Paul's the coach. I don't get that. But get that shoe made. And once she signed with Reebok, that shoe should... One of the pitches, and maybe they have it. Maybe they just want to wait to see how well she's doing. What they should do, and here's where you got to pay me. You got to pay me, Mother Hubbards. What they should do is like they did with the Jordans. Remember, all the new Jordans came out during the All-Star break. Well, Michael would wear them during the dunk contest, All-Star Saturday, then during the games. They should release her shoe. She's an All-Star. They should release her new shoe during the WNBA All-Star game. I'm not saying. I'm just saying. I'm not saying. I'm just saying. Anyway, I got off topic off track because I love what they're doing over there with the Sky. Here we go. Here we go. Here we go. The Bears report to minicamp. And I'll tell you what, I am fired up about it. There's one thing that we're going to talk to Lauren Cox with at the top of the hour. Caleb Williams and Roma Dunze remain unsigned. That's a little bothersome to me. A little bothersome to me. You know, your first round picks. There's no, see, this is the issue with not having an agent. And this is the issue with, it's an issue because the only thing you can't argue over years. Okay. It's 4 years with a team option, a club option for a fifth year option if you're a first round pick. So that can't change. That's non-negotiable. That was collectively bargained by the union and the NFL. So if you're a first round pick, your contract is automatically 4 years, and the team that drafted you has a fifth year option that they can pick up. And then your money's slotted. So last year it was X amount for the number one overall pick, first pick, first round, ninth pick, and it goes up incrementally, like 3%, 5% every year. So like the next year, the number one overall pick is gonna get a little more, but it's set how much you can make. You can't negotiate how much you can make. So let's just say it's $60 million. Okay, over those 4 years, then you can pick up a fifth year option, which that's another jump, but that's also collectively bargained as well. Only thing that they can argue over is I shouldn't even say minute, the details. So if he gets cut, does he get his full contract? If he gets traded, so if he gets cut and then signs with another team, is the team, the Bears off the hook? Because the Bears want to be off the hook if he signs with another team. The players, on the other hand, they want to double dip. They say, nope, you owe me this while I get my other contract. That's, bonuses maybe. But all this, some of the verbiage, and he's not reading it himself. Of course, he's hired people to look at the contracts. But this is frustrating. And here's another thing. All this shit, it's going to be a moot point. Because what are the Bears going to be featured on coming up? Hard Knocks. It would not surprise me that this shit is done, but they're saving the announcement for Hard Knocks. It would not surprise me at all. It's the NFL. They put out a show. The NFL puts on a show. They know how to entertain. Are you not entertained? They know how to entertain. That would be a huge, huge storyline in one episode of Hard Knocks. To get your first 2 rounds, the number 1 overall pick and the number 9 overall pick signed on Hard Knocks. It makes sense. You have to be entertained. Who wouldn't want to see that episode? They have 6 days to sign. I'm not surprised. No, it's a rookie contract. This is a rookie contract. They can sign. I don't know what you mean why they have 6 days to sign. Like they can sign it whenever. They could have signed it already. There's only like 5 people, 5 first rounders who haven't signed. 2 of them are on the Bears. One of them is Chicago's very own, Chicagoland's own JJ McCarthy. He's another one who hasn't signed. But there seems to be something here with the contracts or the language in the contract, because we saw Roquan Smith hold out a little bit. We saw who else? Someone else held out a little bit as well because of the contracts. So I'm excited. In a couple minutes we're going to go to break, and I'm sure we're going to go to break. And we're going to welcome Lauren Cox on and talk to him about it. But let's keep it moving. Oh shoot, we're almost done. Next top of the morning topic: the Bears training camp tickets went on sale. So they weren't on sale. Let me tell you, they were not on sale. They were given away. They were free tickets for training camp, like they've had the last couple of seasons. Right? You just had to register, go online, register, and you get your free tickets for each day. Well, they went on sale they were released to the public at 10 o'clock yesterday. And by 10:45, they were sold out, and they were immediately on sale, especially for the 26th, the first day, for over $100 on the secondary market for the July 26th practice. All right, that's the first practice. One site had them for $109 and $118. Okay. And the thing that stinks about this is that something like this, there's only about 1,700 people for each practice allowed. That sucks. And you see the dates down there: July 26th, 27th to 30th, August 4th, 6th, 7th, okay, 13th, 14th, and 15th. So only having 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9. Only 9 practices open to the public. And the thing that I liked about Bourbonnais is you didn't need a ticket because you're on a college campus. They had parking. It was free. They had everything down there. Now, according to somebody that I knew in the Bears organization, the reason they left was Olivet Nazarene wasn't living up to their part of agreed. They weren't doing as much as they could have or should have been doing. And plus they had to pay for it. They had to pay to rent out Olivet Nazarene for the 2 weeks they were down there. I mean, come on, who cares? Oh, and you know what? I should have I can't believe that I did. I really can't believe that I do this. Holy shnikes. You know, and when people talk about, whoa, okay. When people talk about the teams, I look at it like this. You know, everybody's like, here's the thing. They're like, oh, the Bears need to do this, the Bears need to do that. So since when have we become so worried about billionaires? When? Because let me show you something. Let me show you something. You know, the NFL is a not-for-profit organization. Again, we try and keep you educated on what's going on here. I want to talk to educated fans. So I want to help educate some. The NFL is a non-for-profit organization. So after expenses and everything, guess what? They dole out all the money that they made to their owners. 31 teams get it. The other money goes to the Green Bay Packers because it's a publicly owned team. Okay? How about this? Last year, the NFL earned, you know what? I'll take it off ticker. Hold on. Last year, the NFL earned $13 billion in revenue. Look how much each team made. $31 owners. And the value of the stock going to the shareholders for the Green Bay Fudge Packers. Sorry. $400 million. Not a bad gig if you can get it. Not a bad gig at all. Yes. So when you say, well, the Bears should own their own stadium, why do you care? I like them on the lakefront. I don't give a rat's ass if they move to Arlington Heights. I understand why they should, but I don't care. I want them on the lakefront. I want that stadium on the lakefront. To add to the skyline, add to, look at that. Right by the columns of the old Soldier Field. Come on, man. I'm not worried about parking. I'm not worried about tailgating. I want it there, damn it. I don't care if they own their damn stadium. I don't care. Because they honestly don't give a damn about us. If you're a season ticket holder, you don't just buy your tickets. You got to buy a PSL, personal seat license. Means you got to pay in order to get season tickets. Ain't that some shit? I'm going to give you money so I can buy your tickets. Ain't that some shit? Oh, okay. Okay. I was wondering where Lauren was, so he didn't check his email. My bad. Here he is. All right, we're going to take a real quick break, and on the other side, we're going to welcome my man Lauren Cox for the Lockdown Bears podcast. Stop defending and jumping to the side of these owners. All right, stop it. I don't give a damn about you. I said, I want that thing on the damn lakefront. Otherwise, stay where it's, keep it there. I'm not worried about them making money off of WrestleMania. I don't give a damn. I still want my Bears on the lakefront. Period. End of story. We'll talk about that more. But keep it locked right here. Lauren Cox is coming up next on Shawn and Maya in the morning on Sports Zone Chicago. It's going to be a real real quick break because I want to get to Lauren so we can dip into this thing. Keep it locked right here.
Hey, it's your boy, the SuperBack, Shawn Sierra, and be sure to follow Sports Zone Chicago on all social media platforms, on Facebook, Instagram, and our Roku channel. You can find us at Sports Zone Chicago, and on Twitter, we are at Sports Zone Shy. Also, be sure to download our mobile app so you can take Sports Zone Chicago with you on the go.
Time out. How are you feeling right now? Happy? Excited? Angry? Overwhelmed? One of the best things you can do for your mind health is to name what you're feeling. It can sharpen your awareness and help you talk about your feelings with someone you trust. Here are 3 questions to ask yourself. Where are your thoughts right now? In the past, the present, the future? Do you notice any sensations in your body? Is your heart beating fast? Is there a flutter in your stomach? Or are you fully relaxed? What do you need right now? Time with others? Time to yourself? Remember, there's power in this awareness. So find ways to identify what you're feeling today.
Hi, guys.
Welcome back to Shawn and Maya in the morning on Sports Zone Chicago. My next guest, I'm fired up to talk to this guy. Man, you could smell that freshly cut grass. If you ever played football, you smell it. You smell that smell of freshly cut grass, and it doesn't matter what time of year it is. It could be spring, it could be summer, it doesn't matter. You smell that grass, you're like, oh, that's football. That's football. That's football. I love it. But my next guest is a good friend of the program. He's been rocking with us for years. He is the host of the Locked On Bears podcast. You can find him on Twitter at Cox Sports 1, like Fox Sports 1, but with a C. Guys, just welcome back to Shawn and Maya, our guy Lauren Cox. Lauren, what's up, Papa? Here you go. What's up, Papa? How are you?
I'm doing well. Thanks for having me. And you're right. You can almost smell the Soldier Field Bermuda grass in the air, like it's coming.
Man, I'm telling you, it's a sign that it's a bittersweet thing, because at that point, summer's coming to an end. You don't really want it to, but you want it to, because that means it's Bear football. It's a give and take.
Yeah, exactly. It's like you either enjoy the weather or you get to enjoy the football, and I'll take one into the other. I'm ready for it.
You and me both. You're damn right, Jay Grizz. Get off my lawn. Shawn has arrived. I'm here, baby. I am here. Keep your stinking Air Force Ones off my lawn, son of a gun. Well, man, we're excited, man. I am super excited. There's a lot, and hopefully there's still a lot of fracture in Bears Nation because of the whole quarterback situation, but we're moving forward. Your thoughts? How excited are you, and what do you expect of this offense? We'll talk about the defense in a second, but what do you expect of this offense? Because if you saw 1920, and they were talking to Eberflus, and they were saying, and polls, they said, I've been sitting on this for a month, and they drafted Caleb. And then when they had it for his 30 for 30, they said, we're going to continue with install. Continue with install. I don't know. I know I went to college, so I know what continue means. It means you're picking up where you left off. What do you expect? Because obviously he has had exposure to this offense, this playbook for a long time, or time before he was even drafted. So how soon do you expect this offense to hit the ground running and hit all cylinders? 4 games, 6 games, 10 games?
Yeah, I think it's going to take at least a good 4, right? I mean, I think even last year, under with some continuity with the coaching staff and stuff, it still took this offense a little while to kind of get to where they wanted to go. And you add in, like, not only the rookie quarterback trying to learn a new offense, but like everybody's trying to learn a brand new offense to them, with a new offensive coaching staff that's still trying to learn each other. I mean, brand new running back, new wide receivers, a new center in the middle is also really important for that offensive line to kind of learn how they're going to handle protections under Shane Waldron's offense. Like if it was just rookie quarterback coming into established offense already with players that have been here with this coaching staff, like that's one thing to be able to mitigate. But like when it's a bunch of brand new players with a brand new coaching staff and everybody at time, like that's going to take a little bit more time just for like the fine tuning of everybody on the same page. Like even like the Texans offense last season, the kind of thing we're going to be comparing to all year, I think with CJ Stroud, like, yeah, they had some hot flashes right away, but I think it took a little while for that team to really sort of settle into its groove and go on a run. And I think even if the Bears, like if that's like the highest of expectations for this team, like what the Texans did last year, like even that takes some time to really get up to.
Yeah, and that was a shock because it was Bobby Slowick's first year as a play caller, if I'm not mistaken. But the one thing he did, which is, I know this is kind of crazy, but he catered the offense to his quarterback. Holy cow! I don't know if anyone else has ever done that. That's crazy. So, with an experienced play caller in Shane Waldron, I'm hoping he does that as well. I assume he's going to. I hate making assumptions. You make an ass out of you and umption, but I assume he's going to do that with all these weapons. I looked at the schedule. I looked at this and I said, and I'm not trying to be a homer, but I'm saying, okay, let's look at the schedule. Their first 10 weeks. All right. 9 games. They have a bye in there. I'm struggling to find a third loss in those first 9 games. What do you think? Because we've got Tennessee, Houston, Indy, we don't really know what Richardson's going to do. LA, the Panthers should be a win. The Jaguars, that could be their third loss. But Washington, Arizona, and New England, they got to win those games. Your thoughts on how fast they can get out of the gate and how that would help this offense if they get out of the gate fast?
Yeah, it's certainly a schedule that aligns itself for that, right? It gets tougher in the second half of the schedule, but by that point, you'll have had some of these games to kind of build up and be something closer to the best version that you could be of yourself and make the mistakes against the teams that maybe you can afford to make a few more mistakes against.
They won't exploit you. They won't exploit us.
Yeah, the margin for error is larger against the Commanders and the Cardinals and the Patriots than it is against the 49ers or the Lions, later on in the season. But I mean, I think you're right. Like as far as like losses in there, like I think they should be able to beat the Titans, but anything happens in week 1. Texans are probably a loss. The Colts are kind of a wild card coin toss team for me right now. Like you were saying, the Rams are probably a better team that I would expect them to lose to early in the season like that. And then the Jaguars are also a little bit of a wild coming. Trevor Lawrence was hurt a little bit last season, but played through it. And some questions of whether or not how good he actually is and how much of that was him being hurt. Like the Colts and the Jaguars to me are both kind of those 50-50 toss-up games where if the Bears are firing on all cylinders and really get off to a fast start, they could win both of those games. But if, there's still some little miscommunications or just, guys trying to get on the same page or of course, like rookie mistakes for a young quarterback are perfectly natural and not something we should panic about. Like those could happen in those games and you end up losing 1 or 2 of those that you feel like, oh man, they could have had that, but because they were so close and because they're still kind of a young ascending team, you feel like, okay, like those are sort of the bumps and bruises along the way so that maybe when they play those tougher teams in the second half, they can learn from the mistakes you made in those games to fare a little bit better in you have like 5 NFC North games in like 6 weeks or something crazy like that.
Crazy. Yeah. I'll pull it back up again. Yeah. Let me see. Yeah. But when you say having issues though, or bumps, like that can't happen on the defensive side of the ball. Shit. We're going into year 3 of the same system. The guy, this is his defense and Eberflus. Like we better not have any bumps along the road with the defense, right?
Well, the defensive line is kind of the one area where you still look at this roster and go, are they going to be able to generate a consistent enough pass rush? Like I think we all have extreme confidence in the back 7 of this defense. Linebackers, cornerbacks, and safeties are all studs across the board. Like you've got young players who are developing, you got veteran presence and leadership in there. Like you've got everything you need in that back 7, but the defensive line, it's Montez Sweat and then some potential that you're excited about. But until we see Gervon Dexter take that step forward, until we see DeMarcus Walker get back to some of the production we had seen him produce in Tennessee a couple of seasons ago, like, or until they sign somebody like Yannick Ngakoue to fill out that defensive line, like I still am going to have some questions about how consistently they pressure the opposing quarterbacks. And if you let Trevor Lawrence or Anthony Richardson sit back there in the pocket all day and have time to wait for these plays to develop. Like your secondary can only do so much and can only cover so much, and you can blitz too. And I mean, that's the strategy of the game for Eberflus. But we saw this defense start a little bit slow last season as well. And you hope that they can pick up from where they finished this past year, but maybe there's some adjusting to do there with a new defensive coordinator and Eric Washington adding his spin and his flavor to this defense.
Yeah, but we know Eberflus is the one going to be calling the plays. I think Washington's going to be prepping, but it's still Eberflus's thing. And also, let's not forget, last year they started off slow, but they didn't have a guy named Montez. What was his last name? Montez something or other. They picked him up, and in the last 6 weeks of the season, they're the best defense in the NFL. And then you swap out an aging All-Pro at free safety to put in a younger All-Pro at free safety. Like I don't think. Then that's why I say I find it difficult to find 3 losses in those first 10 games, because that's where the defense needs to step up. All right, you're not Montez Sweat isn't learning a new system. I mean, first of all, he's going after the quarterback regardless, but he's comfortable. He's got a house here. He's got a place. You know what I mean? Like all the personal stuff that you got to figure out when you move in the middle of a season, all that's calm now. Andrew Billings got his money. All right, so that's why I'm saying I'm finding it very difficult to find 3 losses, because this defense should carry this team for the first 5 weeks. And at that point, man, that offense has got to be, with the early exposure to this offense, with all the weapons, the insulation, and the most important acquisition this offseason, which was Shane Waldron. Man, this offense should catch up within 5 weeks, 6 weeks. And man, at that point, now you're playing with house money, in my opinion.
And it's important to remember too, last season, this defense started injured. You know what I mean? Like it was after a game or two. Is that when Jalen Johnson went out, or when Kyler Gordon went out? Like Jackson missed some time in that first stretch of the season. Like they were trying to still piece together like a healthy secondary behind it.
Whoa.
Behind it.
Whoa. I don't know. Whoa. That was a remix version. Yeah, he's gonna log out. behind the chicka behind the. We'll get him back on. Here we go. That was hilarious. I don't know if you heard it, but it was a remix version. Because you said they had the secondary behind the. That was awesome. Somebody put, that was cool.
Hold on one second.
But it's all right.
There we go. There we go.
Perfect.
I think you can see and hear me now.
Yep. We're good.
There we go. All right. Yeah. Sorry about that. I don't know exactly what happened, but we're back.
Yeah. So you were saying they had injuries in the secondary, injuries on the defense. They didn't have that Montez something or other dude at that particular point. You still had the defensive coordinator at that point, the initial defensive coordinator. There was a lot of craziness going on. A lot of craziness. And now everything's settled, and there's no craziness going on. This defense has to, in my opinion, step up. I think they will. And can they do it? Can they do it if Gervon Dexter doesn't take the big step that we're all anticipating? And if DeMarcus Walker doesn't take another step as well?
Yeah, I think that's going to be really critical to have, a new defensive coordinator with a defensive line coaching background to go with your defensive line coach who's already had some good experience developing defensive linemen with the Raiders in Las Vegas, and to be able to sort of squeeze the most out of that position. It feels like that's what that's what Ryan Poles has kind of been counting on. They every offseason we hear them rave about their coaching staff being full of teachers and player development and all that stuff. And it's time for that to come to fruition more, right? Like Ryan Poles has been able to the last couple off seasons say, okay, we don't have a ton of time for player development. Let's go get Montez Sweat. Let's go get Keenan Allen. Let's get some veteran pieces in here to really kind of be those cornerstones. But now all those draft picks I've been investing at those key positions, those players now in year 2 or year 3 or year 4, need to continue to get better. Like somebody like Dominique Robinson doesn't need to be the starter by any means, but this is year 3 of a Ryan Poles draft pick that was a raw player with potential that they needed to coach up for a couple seasons. Let's see these young players start to get up to the higher level of play that the Bears expected when they drafted him. And same thing with Braxton Jones on the offensive line. They've been we've been patient with these guys through the process because, of course, young players take time to get better. And coach, you can't just fix them in one season and develop into this perfect player with 1 year of coaching. But once we get to 2 or 3 years of coaching and now the team around them is better and ready, there's not a lot of excuses at that point. Like, there's always excuses of like, well, okay, like they didn't have much talent around this player, so it's harder to see his development when he's trying to make up for mistakes of other players. But like, as the team gets better, there becomes a lot fewer excuses for younger players to not take those steps forward because they're being put in such a ideal situation for their growth and development.
Yeah, and I agree. And you mentioned one guy that I think is going to have a huge impact. I think he might be the second biggest acquisition player or coach, and that's Eric Washington. I think his work with Oliver up in Buffalo just shows his attention to detail and his ability to extract the best out of his players, and that's why I'm excited for Gervon Dexter. That's why I'm excited for a DeMarcus Walker, but that's why I'm more excited for an Austin Booker because he's a rookie. Dexter's is a sophomore season here. Him and Pickens as well. I mean, not forget him. To have such a good coach at an early stage of your NFL career can set you on the path to greatness. When you have a shitty coach, all right, to start your whatever level that your next level that you ascend to, then you get a good coach. Like, you're gonna have to unlearn a lot of the crap that you learned from that dude, and that takes time. But when you get a guy like Washington, and that's why I'm so high on this defensive line, and Gervon Dexter and Pickens and Walker and Booker, and that's why I don't think they're going to make a huge splash to the DN. They might get Ngakoue, but still not a huge splash in the DN market. I think Washington is that key figure. And you see on the screen, coaching matters. When you get a guy like that, to get a Booker who they love, remember, they jump back into the draft to get that dude, and I think that he's gonna bring the best out of them. And I think they make the playoffs this year, and I think next year they become serious contenders for the NFC title game. But talk about Washington and Booker and Walker on that end, all right? Because we know what we're gonna get from Sweat. Imagine what Sweat's gonna get when he's coached by Washington. You know what I mean? Him and Billings, who are monsters. But talk to me about that right end spot with DeMarcus Walker and Booker, and their fortunate situation to be coached by Eric Washington.
Yeah, I think I look back at Washington's time in Buffalo, and I think about the variety of pass rushing styles he's coached in terms of like the players involved. Like, you have sort of the long, lanky, explosive Leonard Floyd type on one side, but then you can obviously have a pretty much well-rounded future Hall of Famer in Von Miller that he's been able to coach, who wins in a lot of different ways. And then
he's not bad.
Physicality in rushers like AJ Epineza and Gregory Rousseau, who's like maybe not as much of a pure speed threat, but has to win with different styles of technique, right? Different skill sets that he's been able to coach up and get consistent production from on the edge, and of course, on the interior as well, whether it's the big nose tackles or some of the smaller, more athletic defensive tackles. Like, we've seen him coach quality defensive linemen of essentially not every kind, but of across the spectrum of different types of defensive linemen, so that he can come into Chicago and you're going to have to coach Austin Booker a bit differently than DeMarcus Walker, right? I mean, Walker is humongous, big, strong, plays a lot of defensive tackle as well. Booker's a little bit lighter and more of a speed edge kind of guy, and to be able to have that background and say, okay, like, I can coach Booker not exactly like Leonard Floyd, but coach him more in that style, and then I can coach DeMarcus Walker in more of a big defensive end, versatile type style. And same with the Gervon Dexter at defense, like a big 3 technique defensive tackle like Ed Oliver, who can, be that more physical interior defensive lineman. Like, he's got all of these like specific examples of successful players that he's been able to coach up in the past that he can apply to the players that the Bears have here. And I hope that they're able to take good advantage of a lot of that versatility that they have with DeMarcus Walker, to give some, to keep the defensive tackles fresh. These big guys are not able to go for a full 60 snaps a game. So you got to play Walker in there sometimes to get Dexter off the field and get Pickens on the field sometimes. And then have that 3rd or 4th edge rusher like Austin Booker or Dominic Robinson come off the bench. And, they don't need to be the most refined run stoppers if they're coming in on 3rd and 12. They can just focus a lot of their effort on rushing the passer and making an impact where they can, instead of having to be everything for this defense the way that like Montez Sweat is.
I liken Booker to a one-trick pony now, because I think he'll be, as he gets stronger. He actually has put on some weight since the end of the season. But for me, I was like, he's a 3rd down dude. All right, this year, for the most part, maybe a couple times you get a whole series. Okay, cool. but I need you to go get the quarterback. I need a Mark Anderson type of season out of you. Give me 6 to 10 sacks, at minimum 6 sacks throughout the year, and I'll be more than happy, especially if he's just a one-trick pony this year. Because I'm not asking you to set the edge. I'm not asking you. I need you to pin your ears back and go get the God-blessed quarterback. And if he can do that and then build off of that next year and add more stuff to his game, I'm excited because don't forget, next year, that edge class is deep. So now you're going to be able to get another guy who may be as good a pass rusher as Booker, but still who can still set the edge. So now you're rotating these guys. Man, they're in a good spot on that defensive side of the ball. Let me ask you about the head coach. How soon will people Bears fans start to get antsy, all right, and call for his job if things don't go well? Because he's calling the defense. He did it at the end of last year, or most of last year. This defense should be top notch. How soon do you start to hear people grumbling from the fans? What would have to go wrong?
Yeah, it's funny how we're not that far removed from a pretty strong effort to want to fire him and the whole coaching staff.
Yeah.
Everything changes when Caleb Williams comes in and Matt Eberflus goes a beard, but like at the end of last season, there were some real questions about whether he would be sticking around or not. And now I think the confidence in Matt Eberflus has gone up despite not having games been played since then. But regardless, like I think given that Caleb's here and that there's the expectations for the defense, like there is going to be I think he gained some leash this offseason a little bit. You know, this was not, I think there's a very clear feeling of still willing to be patient given all the changes and all the moving parts. Like they could, if they had a surprise loss to the Titans in week 1 and then they lose to the Texans in week 2 and start 0-2, like people are going to be upset, but I don't know that we're going to be instantly calling for the Matt Eberflus firing just yet. But then, you know, if they were to lose to the Colts to start 0-3, okay, you know, it's like back-to-back seasons starting with really, really rough starts and feel like, oh, but you have all these weapons and all these defensive players. Like that's when things start to get a little bit tricky there. But he could certainly, it's the kind of thing where the Bears are not going to, wouldn't, you know, fire him that early in a season. And I think we're going to come back around on the Panthers, the Commanders, the Cardinals, and the Patriots to the point where even if things start bumpier than they should, there will be that sort of swing turnaround period halfway through the season where the team starts playing well and starts re-earning some of that favor. And then even if they struggle in the NFC North stretch there, it's easy enough to say, okay, well, the Lions are really good and the 49ers are really good. And, you know, the Packers might be pretty good and the Vikings hopefully aren't, but you can start to sort of, once they've seen some good this season, then we can start to sort of land the plane a little bit more somewhere in the middle by the end of the year.
But it'll also, and guys, around with Lauren Cox, the host of the Locked On Bears podcast, talking Bears football here on Shawn and Maya in the morning on Sports Zone Chicago. But especially when you talk to those other teams, like now that's week 8, 9, and 10. Now you're going into division, but now you got momentum. Now you've got momentum going into that division. And it's not as if you're starting off with a difficult schedule. You're, like I said, you're going to be able to be less exploited by some of these teams early on and really get the development. And then you start to, you know, once that starts rolling and you get some chemistry, that's a great time to start when you got to face the division. Let me ask you a quick question though before we let you go. Matt Eberflus now all of a sudden he's on Vegas boards. He's the leader for a front runner for the Coach of the Year candidate. Your thoughts on him being a front runner in the Coach of the Year? You know, way too soon prediction, but Coach of the Year candidate.
Yeah, it's so interesting because I've seen that he's been at the front like for most of the offseason here as one of the top or the top odds for Coach of the Year. And yet like you can also go to like bleacherreport.com and look at articles of coaches on the hot seat this season and he'll be in those lists too. Like, it's impossible that you could be the favorite for Coach of the Year and also on the hot seat at the exact same time. But that sort of speaks to the Matt Eberflus experience here, where I think like Bears fans feel some of this like just tension and pressure about like, okay, like, are we 100% sure this is the guy? Like we think so, but are we 100% sure? And then at the same time, you can look at this team and go, well, they won 7 games last season and upgraded the wide receiver core drastically. You know, the defense it looks really stacked and they got what in theory should be a quarterback upgrade eventually, maybe not week 1, but like as he gets better, there's an expectation that, you know, this is supposed to be the quarterback to put them over the top. That should, in theory, get them to be a playoff team and make a potential little run there, maybe 9-10 games and make a little noise in the NFC North. And like, that's the formula to win Coach of the Year, right? Is take a team that everyone kind of thought was bad, a team that technically was picking with the number 1 overall pick, even though it wasn't their pick, but still picking in the top 10 of the draft, and turn them into a playoff team with this big turnaround. Like, that's what wins you Coach of the Year. So, like, if I was a sports book, I'd feel the same way. There's a pretty good chance of that, being a possibility here. But at the same time, like, there's always that chance that things go very poorly. And I don't think he's going to get fired, but like, things could just as easily go poorly. And that's the curious case of Matt Eberflus right now.
Lauren, last question before we let you go. And, I always appreciate the time that you have for me. Because I know you got to get out here and we got another guy coming. What is your thought on the fact that Caleb Williams and Rome Odunze, one of 2 of 5, I want to say, first round picks that have not been signed? One of the other ones is Chicagoland's own JJ McCarthy. But real quick, what is your thoughts on them not being signed? Training camp starts really, really soon, and or do you think it's, we know the NFL loves to entertain. Are they just kind of holding this off for Hard Knocks to do it on national TV, or what do you think about our first 2 first-round picks not being signed yet?
Yeah, I think Ryan Poles isn't going to feel a lot of like urgency here, as long as, and I think until they don't show up at training camp, or until they aren't able to participate at training camp because of the contract thing, I'm not going to worry about it yet. You know what I mean? Like, we could sit here and hem and haw, and tomorrow they could sign their contracts, and then, oh no, we're worried about, right? So, like, I think Ryan Poles says, listen, we're going to take care of this. They're not going to try and, negotiate leverage against the number 1 overall pick quarterback. They're going to give him what he wants. What are you worried about offset language for the number 1? Like, he's the number 1 overall pick at quarterback. I don't think there's going to be a lot of sticking points here that the Bears are going to have to put their foot in the ground and say, no, Caleb, we're standing firm on this, and now we're at a standstill. No, I think when it's time to take care of it.
You know what? If they truly believe in this guy, guarantee his whole contract, just like this is guaranteed. Yeah. Whether you get hurt or not, all right, your first 4 years are guaranteed, and if you truly believe in it, and what language you worried about? None. Everything's guaranteed. So that's all you need. That's the only language you need to worry about. Everything's guaranteed. So if you tear an ACL, you can't play football ever again, guess what? Your first 4 years, you know what I mean? It's bothersome. It's annoying, but it is what it is. Hey, Lauren, excellent stuff as always, my man. I appreciate every time you're able to come on with us. Do me a favor though, let everyone know where they can find you and your work online.
Of course. Thanks for having me. Always a pleasure. You can follow me on Twitter at CoxSports1, and you can hear me on the Locked On Bears podcast on YouTube or wherever you get your podcasts.
Great stuff, buddy. We'll talk soon, man. Bear the freak down. I'm fired up, dog. I'm fired up.
Me too, man. Anytime.
All right now. Bye. Guys, that's Lauren Cox of the Locked On Bears podcast. I am fired up. Man, I tell you, I can smell the freshly cut grass already. Well, listen. We're going to take another quick break, and on the other side of the break, we're going to switch gears and talk Bulls basketball with my man. All right, C-Red Fred Pfeiffer from the Big Red Bus podcast, and I think he's got like 7 other podcasts he talks Bulls with. I don't know. But anyway, we're going to talk to Fred, and are we finally getting younger and more athletic? As 6 years later, we'll find out. I just laugh because remember the whole Rajon, let's get younger and more athletic, and then go to Rajon Rondo. Oh, man, just keep it locked right here, folks. Shawn and Maya in the morning on Sports Zone Chicago.
Move it!
Many will hear the calling. Few will earn the title. United States Marine. The few, the proud, the Marines.
Hey, it's your boy, the SuperBack, Shawn Sierra, and be sure to follow Sports Zone Chicago on all social media platforms, on Facebook, Instagram, and our Roku channel. You can find us at Sports Zone Chicago, and on Twitter, we are at Sports Zone Shy. Also, be sure to download our mobile app so you can take Sports Zone Chicago with you on the go.
saw almost 11,000 on Friday night. It looks like about the same tonight. 3 ball on the way. Marina Mabry. There's your inside out, Elise. Now to Mabry. High post Reese. Spinning on Mercedes Russell and scoring. Nice move. Clock down as far as possible so Seattle doesn't have a good look at the other end. Drives in. Shot altered at least, if not hit. Seattle scored 31 points in the first 20 minutes of this game as Ezzy McGregor erases that one, tries to get another one, but gets the foul, and Isabel Harrison roll ever since. Mabry has it. Hook pass inside Harrison. She floats it up and good, and Isabel Harrison.
Welcome back to Shawn and Maya in the morning on Sports Zone Chicago. I believe those clips courtesy of Marquee Network. Looking at the sky, and girls got to do it today. They're playing the Atlanta Dream, the ATL Dream. All right. And that game, that kicks off in like 25 minutes. Again, why are you starting so early? I don't know. It's not baseball like a getaway day. What the hell? I digress. Sticking with basketball, my next guest is a good friend of the program. He's been rocking with us for years. And I'm excited to talk about our Chicago Bulls team. I'm fired up, man, because it's finally we're getting younger and more athletic like we said we were going to do. He's the host of the Big Red Bus podcast. You can find him on Twitter at CBE for Chicago Bullseye. CBE Fred. Guys, let's welcome back to Shawn and Maya, Fred Pfeiffer. Fred, what's up, Papa? Good morning. How are you?
I'm doing okay, Shawn. How are you? Actually, I wish I could agree with you already. I'm just like younger and more athletic with this team. I really have been frustrated with some of the moves from our beloved Bulls.
Let's get it, baby. Let's get right to it. Let's talk about the trade. We knew it was most likely happening or going to happen, the DeMar trade. But when it was finally finalized is when it kind of hurt, and I was just saying, because I actually got a sharp, fresh DeMar DeRozan t-shirt. There's a Dick's Sporting Goods outlet over here by me, right down the street. And I picked it up like last year, and I was like, oh man, I can't wear it. I can't wait to wear it. I mean, you're talking fresh white t-shirt, you know what I mean?
Yeah.
And I'm like, damn, I can wear it, but like it doesn't have as much bite because he's not there. Talk to me about what that does and what hole that leaves with DeMar, because he was Mr. Excitement for us for the last 3 seasons, a lot of buzzer beaters, and just his personality, his leadership in the locker room. What kind of void is that going to leave in this Bulls locker room?
Well, it's a massive void. I mean, I don't think the issue was trading DeMar. I think we all agree that, it kind of had to be done at this point. This team wasn't going anywhere. The issue is like when he was traded, it was like a year and a half late. I think unequivocally he should have been traded the previous season, either at the trade deadline or the offseason. I do think we need to take a step back and acknowledge, like DeRozan, he's had 11 straight years of 20 points per game, at least 60 games per season. In eight of those seasons, he had 74 more games. Incredibly durable, incredibly dependable, and he was a massive floor raiser for this team. And I think we're going to see just an incredible decline this year. And I really have no problem with that. I mean, if we don't finish in the bottom 10, we're going to lose our first-round pick in a draft that's absolutely loaded. My bigger issue with this front office is the return for DeMar DeRozan. If you look at it, I think there's this general idea that we signed DeRozan as a free agent. We didn't. It was a sign-in trade. And in that trade, we gave up when we signed him for a 3-year, $85 million deal, we gave up 2 second-round picks, a first-round pick that was top 10 protected in 2025. So we still haven't suffered that yet. And we also sent in that trade Thad Young, who later in 2022 became a protected first-round pick for the Spurs. For what? What did we get when all is said and done? 1 playoff win and 2 second-rounders back. I mean, it's just an abysmal, brutal manipulation of draft capital and assets. So as bad as this whole situation has been, DeRozan definitely provided value. I loved watching him. I thought he was an excellent player. He helped the young guys. I think he was integral in helping Kobe improve and helping Ayo improve. And I think for the team, he was the only guy in the team who consistently got to the free throw line, a very underrated trait and aspect of offensive efficiency that we don't have anyone now that can do that outside of Zach. But big picture, we're going to be in a much worse spot because we've given up so many assets for him and then waited and to the point where the return was embarrassing. How is it that the Spurs got the best asset in this deal, which is a 2031 swap with the Kings, who could be terrible? And so that means the Spurs will get whatever the Kings are at that point, which could be in the lottery. We don't get that. It's an embarrassing return on an investment. And I don't know. That's just the tip of the iceberg. I think the Caruso one was even worse.
Yeah, we didn't get to that yet. But we are younger. Talk to me about who they got in return. They got Giddy, got Chris.
Duarte. They got Duarte.
There you go, Duarte.
In the DeRozan trade. Well, let's start out with the Caruso trade.
Okay.
And again, I cannot believe the incompetence of this front office in this deal. We just watched the Celtics win an NBA title with several elite perimeter defenders and that they added over the last few years in Holiday and White. Alex Caruso is absolutely on that Holiday White level. Oh, and by the way, he just shot 40% from three last year on 4.7 attempts, by far his career high. He's 30. He's not 34 like Holiday. He's not 36. He fits on every single team in the NBA that's contending for a title because of his contract. I don't care who it is, Philly, Milwaukee, the Knicks, the Wolves, the Mavs, the Nuggets, the Lakers, Orlando. Pick a team. And the law of supply and demand tells you that you should have at least garnered a pick from a team that has too many to use. What did we get from? We got a player in Josh Giddey who has more red flags than the Chinese embassy. I have a close friend who's on who's very close with Chip Engold on the West Coast. He's a scout, and Chip Engold is one of the best shooting coaches. Him and friend Vincent are 1-2 in terms of NBA shooting coaches. He's been at Oklahoma City for the last 2 years. He's worked with Josh Giddey for the last 2 years, and yet he's still shooting 33% from the three-point line. I don't know if you saw the video I posted on Twitter of a game last year where the Suns actually put Nurkic on him. Their center was guarding him, and he was guarding him literally about 4 feet inside the free throw line. He walked up to the three-point line. He fired up a miss. They weren't even guarding him out at the three-point line. So, I hope he gets better as a three-point shooter because it's abysmal right now. He's a very talented passer. He's a very good rebounder, but he's not athletic. He has a negative wingspan, which means that his wingspan is smaller than his height.
Right. Yeah.
He's not a good defender, and he's not a good three-point shooter. So he just left a team that was number one in the NBA in three-point shooting. They spread the floor incredibly well. This team isn't anywhere near as good as that team when it comes to shooters. I think this has I think he's going to put up numbers because he's good in that level, but I don't think it's going to be conducive to winning. I don't think he'll ever be conducive to winning. He has to be on ball. They have to have him on ball. Why does he deserve to be on ball? Like, what talent does he? He can't finish. He doesn't get to the line. Can't shoot. Where this team has gone, Shawn, I'm just so frustrated with some of these moves in this offseason. I think it's an embarrassment. I really do. And I got to be honest, like, there's no one more positive and more loving of this organization than me. But that deal with Caruso was so appalling to me that they weren't even able to garner a second-round pick. A few days later, Oklahoma City traded 5 of them to the Knicks, 5 second-round picks just to move up in the draft like a couple spots. You couldn't get one? Incompetence. It's hard to describe how incompetent that is.
And if you wanted to trade him last year at the trade deadline, you would have got a hell of a lot more for him because people understand his value, and especially teams who are going to the playoffs or vying for a playoff spot, they would have definitely overpaid, as you always do at the trade deadline. They would have paid a premium for him, and for whatever reason, they didn't move it. But I mean, reports were that he was told Acme was told from above that they couldn't trade him. How much credence do you put into that? And if you're told from your boss you can't trade him, well, damn, how are you gonna let a man do his job if you tell him what he can and can't do?
That's a good question. If that's true, I don't know where the truth lies in this. I do believe that from all reports, from most of the reports, he has the freedom to do what he wants. No one forced him to make the idiotic Vooch trade, which in retrospect was a complete disaster, giving up 2 first-round picks, taking the Aminu contract for a guy who now has declined to the point that he's literally went from stretch 5 to constrict 5, had his worst year shooting a 3, and he is the worst rim defender in the league. The Bulls gave up the highest at the rim field goal percentage inside 6 feet. So he's horrible defensively, and he's horrible as an outside shooter now. This is an abomination. And you just exponentially exacerbate the problem by signing him to a 3-year deal. What team out there was going to give Vucevic a 3-year deal? None of them. 2-year deal, you could have moved him. You can't even move him now. You got that, Zach. It is such a mess. Like, I feel like ownership gets blamed a lot here in Chicago, and they're not good. I don't deny that. But a lot of these moves were based on these 2 guys. Like, our previous front office that took all that crap had to deal with that far more. I don't want to get into the details, but Kyle Korver was not on the Bulls because of the front of the ownership. They wanted to keep a good player like Kyle Korver. They had to deal with all that baloney for many years. I actually think it's been better for this guy. And man, some of these moves are just inexcusable. And like I highlighted the Caruso one, the DeRozan one, that he didn't get traded earlier. I mean, that's part of his job is to go up and go into ownership and convince them and say, this team's not working. I don't know how you can finish the previous season and say, yeah, we're going to run this back. We like it. They finished 14-9. We want continuity. It's incredible. Every person I know, and I think you too, Shawn, probably even said, why are we running this back? This clearly doesn't work. These 3 players do not work together. And it's just been, I mean, I don't think I've ever been at a point for the Bulls. That's saying a lot since the post-Jordan Cross era, where I have less faith in a front office than I do with this group. I mean, we can make jokes about guard packs all you want, but like I've always stated, 2007, they draft Noah. 2008, they get Rose. 2009, they draft Taj in the 20s. Then they hire Tibbs in 2010, and then they draft Butler at 30 in 2011. That 5-year stretch is as good as any GM has ever had in the city. And then you look at players like Lauri Markkanen and Bobby Portis that they drafted that weren't celebrated, but ended up being really good players. Like, those guys are exponentially better than what we have right now. It's when it comes to drafting talent, I have a lot more faith in Kobe White, players that they drafted, than I do in these 2 guys. Anyhow.
So you
rambled on for a while.
No, you didn't.
You can tell, I don't know if you can sense my frustration.
No, not at all. Not at all. But you go back to those things. So what's the issue? Like you look at all these teams, all these people we've drafted, and you just went through a whole bunch of them. Bobby Portis, Daniel Gafford's. All right, Daniel Gafford's playing in the NBA Finals. And they're not playing in the NBA Finals because of him. No, but he was a role player. All right, Daniel Jones Jr. NBA Finals. They're not playing in the finals because of him, but he's a role player. Like and we've had talent. Lowry's an all-star. Like, what is the problem here in Chicago that we just can't draft and develop and these players into all-stars, into quality, role players, and God forbid even get a superstar. I mean, we had one in Jimmy, but he cost. Don't even get me started. What seems to be the problem?
Well, the problem. Let's just talk about the problem right now. The problem with this front office is when they took over in 2020, in spring of 2020. They had a roster in front of them that included Daniel Gafford, Lauri Markkanen, Kobe White, Max Strus. I'm probably missing a few other players there, but just those 4 guys. I would argue you'd be better off today with just having a robot or AI draft all the picks. They had every pick in front of them. They weren't missing any picks for Kingdom Come. You could have been better off just taking AI. What's the best ranked prospect? Combined with Gafford and Lauri Markkanen and Max Strus and Kobe White and Wendell Carter Jr. or whoever you wanted to keep at that point, you'd be better off today with that group than where we went. We traded Lauri Markkanen for essentially now nothing. We have a protected Portland pick that's going to end up being a 2nd-round pick probably in 2008. Lauri Markkanen, who is an all-star, who's now going to either be traded for like 4 first-rounders or still remain a fixture in Utah. Max Strus, who clearly was a great player that they just cut when he was rehabbing his ACL. They saw him every day. They saw him getting better. He's not for us. Let's get rid of him. And then Gafford. I'd rather have Gafford any day than Vucevic. Kobe White is. Think about it right now, today. Who are our best two players? Let's not debate anything else. Like going into this season, who do you feel best about? Who's the two best players in this team? I would say that's Kobe White and Zach LaVine. Even though Zach LaVine has all these other issues with him, those are, to me, our two best players. Those are the only two players that are left over from the previous front office. So the problem, I don't care about the previous problem. Like, to me, there really was the problem with the previous front office was they hired Jim Boylan, who was one of the worst coaches in the history of the league. That was their big problem. They drafted extremely well. That was a fireable offense, and it was time to move on. This front office, to me, one of the only good things they've done is hire like Billy Donovan. They managed to get Caruso. That was a gift from the Lakers. The Lakers, all they had to do was pay him. We would never even have Caruso. They've managed to screw up every single asset that we had. They had this glorious group of assets, and what do we have left for Gafford? We have nothing for Gafford. For Lauri Markkanen, protected second rounder. Max Strus walked. Kobe White. I mean, man, oh man, it's bad. It's bad. So I'm hoping we can fix it. I'm excited about Ayo. That's a great pick in the second round. Ayo's a good player. Kobe White's a good player. I'm hoping things change and Josh Giddey develops an outside jumper. And then, he's a good passer. It could be exciting, but to me, you have to be bad next year. I don't even think this is debatable. The worst case scenario is that we finish in the play-in again, get the 11th pick and hand that to San Antonio in a draft that's loaded. I've talked to some experts in this draft, and they say that the first 7 players likely to be picked in this draft would have gone number 1 in 2024. Wow. That's how good this draft is. Did you see the video of Cooper Flagg yesterday against the All-Stars?
Yep. Oh, yeah.
Dude, we get Cooper Flagg. Everything else is let's just forget about it. So I'm kind of bewildered, like what kind of balance we're trying to, walk here in this trade. Like, to me, we should be just getting assets, first-round picks for a lot of these players. Instead, we got to get a guy like Giddey that we got to pay next year, who's probably good enough to maybe even push us to another play-in loss. It's a bad scenario, and I think we're really walking a fine line here of potentially having that horrible result being realized.
Okay, so gloom and doom as it sounds, or as it appears. Talk to us about Matas Buzelis, the number 1 pick overall. I mean, their number 1 pick this year. What excitement does he move the needle for you at all? Were you excited about him? Talk to me about this kid. He's a local kid. He transferred Hinsdale Central, I want to say, but then transferred to a prep school and was it Maine or somewhere. But he looks. Give me your thoughts on him. I'll hold mine.
I mean, he played in the G League, which is good. I mean, last year as a 19-year-old, so that's good that he played as a young player in a league with, I think, some excellent competition. Definitely better, I'd say, than most collegiate programs. But to me, it's like this kid is so far away from being a contributor to a winning team right now. Like right now, if you just look at his stats from last year, he shot 67% from the free throw line and 27% from 3. Those are 2 massive. Wow. That's not good.
Flags, yeah.
The red flags, exactly.
Those are red banners.
as a big who's like 6'9", 6'10", I agree. Like, he's got a lot to like. He's athletic. I love his shot blocking ability. He seems to be good there. But he's not. I mean, he's 19. He'll be 20 before the season starts. I have no idea where he's going to end up. I hope he ends up being good. He's got to fix his shot, though. Like, his shot looks good, but you can't argue with the numbers. 27.3% from 3 sucks. 67% from the line is not good. He was a minus 10.3 overall, like in plus minus last year in the G League. Now, the team sucks, so a lot of that has to do with the players around him. Okay. I'm fine with the pick. It's a fine flyer, but like if anybody's realistic and anybody who thinks like, oh, he's going to come in next year and be great, I don't know how you could possibly say that if you watched him in the G League. He seems like a good player. Like he's got talent and he's good. He could be good, but it's not going to be next year. It's not going to be the following year. It'll probably be hopefully by the time he's 23, 24, 25. that he develops into something that's really good and special, hopefully. But
so
I'm not excited about him like next year at all.
Okay, but is this going to be a situation? Is this going to be a marketing? Because remember, we got rid of marketing just before. I mean, he started to show signs. Remember, he was in the weight room. He got bigger. He kept improving his game. He just got hurt. But is this good? And he's only 20. And this is the problem that I have with drafting people, with allowing one and dones or now, you know what I mean? Allowing kids such a young age, because you don't know what they're going to be. You don't know, they could have a shift, all right, a mind shift at 20, at 21, a year or two in, and but you've been a bust for the first 2 years. How long do we have to wait for this guy? Because even at 20, you got to wait 5 years. 5 years minimum before he hits his prime. You're not even in your prime at 21, 22, 23, 24. You got to wait 5 years. Do we have 5 years to wait on a kid?
I hope so. I think we should, based on where the team's at right now.
Okay.
First of all, I don't think Markkanen's a good comparison, because Markkanen, number one, played very well at Arizona in his 1 year that he was there. So he was shooting the ball at a very high level, and he came in much stronger, much heavier, and bigger. He's bigger. And he was first team all rookie. There were signs for Markkanen immediately. His first year was arguably his best year. I think it was 18-10. He was really good.
He was.
And then I think it was his second year, Boylan's first year as coach, in February, he was averaging like a 25-12 for 1 month, like for consistent play. Zach, I don't know if you recall that they made that trade with DC, and he played really well in that month. Then he had the heart issue, and they shut him down. And then he's playing with Boylan. They make the stupid trade for Vooch. He's not a good fit next to Vooch. You need a really, I think, stronger defensive center. They draft Patrick Williams, who was kind of like a 4. He just got caught in that whole mess with the whole new group here that came in the front office, who didn't draft him and didn't believe in him, obviously. And, so he went out to Cleveland, played well for Cleveland, and gets traded in the trade that got Donovan Mitchell over to Cleveland. So there were signs immediately. Like, there's no comparison to me. Like, also, I'll throw another guy out, Patrick Williams. Like, Patrick Williams has shown nothing compared to what Lauri Markkanen showed. Like, Lauri Markkanen averaged 18-10 for months. If Patrick Williams puts up an 18-10, like, he'll put it up maybe once a month or twice a month, people are going to have a parade. It's insane trying to compare those two players. He's not even on the same stratosphere as Markkanen. So I feel this way too. Like, we can't judge this new kid coming in, Bazalis coming in, and say, like, is he going to be as good as Lauri Markkanen? I'm going to say unequivocally no. I don't think he's going to be first team all rookie. I'd be shocked if he is. I think he's going to take a lot more refining and improvement than Lauri did. So yeah, I mean, like, to me, the best case scenario is the Bulls suck this year. They get Cooper Flag, and now we're, rocking and rolling. That's our best case scenario. The worst case scenario is we finish 10th worst record. That means if we finish 10th, we'll have a 19% chance of falling out of the top 10. We'll end up 11th, and we hand that pick to San Antonio next year. That is the worst case scenario. And I think the team as currently structured is in danger of being that. Because you look around up and down the league, there's teams that are worse than the Bulls. Like, DC is clearly tanking. The Nets are clearly tanking. Charlotte's not good. And Zach LaVine's a really good player. If he comes back, plays well, Kobe White's kick-ass, Io's kick-ass. Like, we're not going to be competing for anything, but we're probably better than some of the worst teams. So that's the nightmare nuclear scenario. Finish with the 10th worst record, draft 11th, around the play-in, and hand that end out and hand that first-round pick in a loaded draft to San Antonio.
Last question before we let you go, Fred, and I appreciate your time as always, buddy. The Lonzo Ball situation, does the Josh Giddey signing affect that at all? Do you expect him to play? Do you expect to? What's your assessment with the Lonzo Ball situation this year?
That's a great question. I think you've probably seen the video of Lonzo playing right now, and he was such a great player to watch and a lot of fun to watch. I think the Bulls are in a no-win situation with Lonzo Ball. Even in a best-case scenario, let's say he plays fantastic and he's remotely playing at a level that he was in his first year here in Chicago. What do you do? Like, are we actually I think the Bulls would be insane to offer him another contract, to pay him again, considering where we've been the last 4 years and he's missed such large swaths of time. So I guess the best case scenario is that he actually shows value again and the Bulls move him at the trade deadline for an asset. That would probably be the best case scenario. I just don't expect a lot out of it. And I think it's clear by this move to get Giddey that the Bulls don't either. So they don't believe, I don't think, because to me that was a signal, hey, we don't think this guy's going to, return. And it's a serious injury that he had. Clearly, it's taken him almost, he's missed 2 full seasons.
2 years.
Yeah, so clearly. So, I mean, I hope for the kid's sake that he plays, he comes back, shows some value, gets a, gets another contract next year. But, big picture, he's made a lot of money the last 4 years. So there's worse areas that you could be in this, I guess in the grand scheme of things. But, I hope he gets back. And to me, the most important thing is he looks like he's finally approaching health now, moving around really well. And, big picture, that's the most important thing for him.
Guys, he's Fred Pfeiffer. He's the host of the Big Red Bus podcast. And, man, as always, my man, great stuff. I appreciate it. Do me a favor, let everyone know where they can find you and your work online.
Yeah, so Big Red Bus, the Bulls, if you do it's at all podcast platforms. I'm really proud of the last 4 or 5 shows we've had. Joe Colley, Casey Johnson, Stefan No on, Will Gottlieb, and Shawn, hopefully we'll get you on the next couple of weeks. I got you on our list of hopeful guests. And we got, just more good guys coming on the show. So it's been really good, especially lately, the Big Red Bus. I encourage everyone to check that out. I also do the Chicago Bullseye pod and chicagobullseye.com. I'm going to start writing a lot more as we undergo this, I think a difficult period for the beloved Bull, but it's hard not to be super depressed when you got a player like Kobe White and Nio on the team. Those are 2 guys I love watching. And I do like Zach. I do believe in Zach. I think what Zach is going through right now is really unfair. And it's really kind of insane that people forget how efficient and how good this guy can be. And at the age of 29, if he's healthy, you're getting a bargain, whoever that team is that eventually trades for him.
Cool, buddy. We'll talk soon, man. And hit me up whenever you want me on the pod. I'm there, Papa. I'm there.
Sounds good, Shawn. Thanks so much, man. Thanks everybody. Have a great week.
Likewise. Guys, that's Fred Pfeiffer from the Big Red Bus, man. Love it, love it, love it. And the one thing, he keeps it real. That's what I love about Fred. He's a diehard Bull fan to the core, but he's also not. He also, is not afraid to critique, criticize when they need critique or criticism. Man, 2 hours has come and gone. That felt like a blink of an eye. Holy sheesh. I want to thank all my guests, Bob Nightingale from USA Today, talking Cubs, Sox with me. I want to thank Lauren Cox from the Lockdown Bears podcast for talking Bears football with me. And finally, I want to thank my man, 50 grand, Fred Pfeiffer, for talking Bulls basketball with me. Man, we're going to replay this show tonight at 6 p.m., so make sure you check that out. Guys, from everyone here at Sports Zone Chicago, Elliot Baez, our executive producer, Clarence Council, our social media guy, my co-host at Ascension, Maya Kai. I'm your boy, the SuperBack, Shawn Sierra. Guys, have a phenomenal day. It's going to be, what's it, the low 80s today? It's going to get warm toward the end of the week, but enjoy it. Enjoy it. The high of 81 today. Perfect day. Get out there if you can. Eat outside. Remember I tell you, call your friends, call your loved ones. Let them know that they are loved. So for everyone here at Sports Zone Chicago, guys, I'm your boy, the SuperBack, Shawn Sierra. Guys, have a phenomenal day. I'll see you next Wednesday. Getting closer to coming back to 3 days a week. All right. I'll see you. Your boy, the SuperBack. I am out.